Hey guys, this is Production Music Live with another tutorial. In this one we are going to have a look at Saje, Take Care of You, this track up here. We had a request for a remake on that one and I really liked the style, so I decided to go for it and make a remake using Ableton and using xfer Serum. So this plugin by Steve Duda looks like this over here. We're using those two tools, Ableton Standard Edition stuff and Serum. And if you hear birds or wind in the background, don't worry, I'm actually recording this tutorial in the garden. Let's go ahead and have a look at Saje over here, the original track. So let's try to rebuild those chords more or less and come up with ideas for those sounds and how to make them with Serum. We start with the bass over here. We have a bass coming out of Serum, sounding like this. Everything above the bass is drum elements and drum parts and 2FX over here. So we are cutting off high frequencies over here because we want to focus on the bass frequencies, and the high frequencies will be covered by other sounds. So this patch for Serum is actually a patch out of our new Serum Future Bass preset pack. We did that a couple of days back. It contains a couple of bass sounds, chords, FX, keys, leads, pads, and plugs, and so on. And I'm going to show you how to make this sub bass. So we use the sub oscillator over here, select the sine wave and pull it down 2 octaves. We also use a pulse wave over here, and it's out of the basic shapes. You can see the wavetable positions can be adjusted over here, so that would be a classical pulse wave, and now we are making it a little shorter and we are using this shape. And also we are using one of those saw rounded to square wavetables, looks like this, and we position it right there to use that shape over there. Oscillator A and B are going into the filter, A and B over here. Sub oscillator is going out directly. And we use a German low pass filter because that one actually sounds pretty nice in my opinion. And on top of that, we're using the envelope 1 with a little bit of attack, short decay times, and quite a short release. Quite a basic bass sound. So let's have a look at the notes quickly. C sharp, E, F sharp, C sharp, B, and A. And now for the LFO kind of pads over here, let's play those first. That's also a sound coming out of Serum. We cut off some lower frequencies because the bass is already playing in those frequencies. We don't really need them here. And we have a sidechain going to the main kick track over here. So whenever the kick hits in, we are ducking this LFO pad a little bit with the ratio of 9 to 1 and a longer release time. Let's have a look at the patch for this. And we are using a sub oscillator, which goes into the filter this time, and it's a triangle wave. And we are also using a saw wave out of the basic shapes again. So the second shape over here, the saw wave. And we have a little bit of envelope shaping here, very short. Attack is 200 milliseconds and decay time is pretty short and release is very short as well. We are also using a guitar muted noise over here. And the second envelope is taking care of the filter cutoff over here. So this thing is actually doing the LFO kind of sound. See, we're just swapping in this cutoff over here with this shape of the envelope of the second one. And that's basically creating this effect as if somebody was constantly having his hands on this cutoff filter over here. And we are using those notes, G sharp, E, C sharp, and C sharp. We're going up to E, we're going up to F sharp, and back down. And that's basically the sound. So we combine it with the bass. And now we kind of need some bass sound in the back, some pad that constantly stays in there to fill up the frequency range a little bit more, and that's done by this pad. Which is also a Serum patch, and we are basically cutting off lower frequencies over here. The patch is a simple sine wave over here, so this is exactly the sound we were looking for, and we use the analog BD sine wave, and not too much going on in the envelopes, just keep up the sustains and keep up the decays and put on a filter to have it a little deeper sounding and a little bit of reverb on top. And you're good to go. You have this sine pad sound. And now we are trying to do something to replicate those vocals without actually having those vocals. So let's go back to the Saje track. And for this matter, I'm quickly putting in a vocal Atmos sample over here from Vengeance Sounds, and I'm looping it inside here for longer notes. Let's quickly have a look at the notes. Nothing perfect, but it's just there to create the atmospherical idea. And since that would just play through, I'm putting it in loop mode, and I'm selecting this length for the loop, and the fader's quite applied because else it would kick in heavily always. But actually that's quite a balanced sample, so it doesn't really make that big of a difference, but with samples that aren't the same over here and in the back, you really need this fader applied. And the length goes down to have just this part used. And also low cuts over here, a little bit of side chaining on top, again from the second kick from up there, and longer reverb time, decay time, and quite wet reverb on top. And we are using the same technique to create this second vocal over here, which then plays together with this. So those notes with another shorter sample, and over here you see again looped and a little bit of fade applied. Okay, before we move on to the next part, we have a quick look at the drumming. The kick is coming out of our D Premium sample pack. It's the second kick, this sample. And we are playing at 180 beats per minute. Actually, we are playing at 90 beats per minute. We are just using every second bar to play the first kick, which then you know, makes things a little more easy to see, probably, if you're working at the double speed over here. Anyways, we're playing C3 over and over again, and we are cutting off some of those mid-lows over here to have the kick a little snappier. So let's check the difference. Notice the kick is getting snappier, and a little bit of compression on top, ratio 4:1, and we are not focusing, we are letting the attack through, but then we are compressing right behind that part. And we have the same kick sample over here, but we use it as a tom kind of thing. We saturate a little more, and then we cut off some higher frequency to have it more in the lower parts and kick in right before the second kick over here. Okay, and now we need a clap for every second hit over here, and we are using one of our snares at this clap position, and we are cutting off lower frequencies again and put it in. And we are combining that one with the second snare sound over here. That one is a little more powerful, also in the lower frequencies. Now, it's not exactly the same sound as Saje, but we are trying to get the same feel, and we are trying to do that quickly. Over here we have a pre-clap, and that one is playing every second clap, and it comes a little early in there. It's 30 milliseconds early, so you have this snap, this kind of thing. And we are also using a couple of hi-hats over here, so those are a little slower. This is what the notes look like. And over here we are using a faster hi-hat, going like this. Okay, so let's move on to the next part. We are basically done over here. The only thing we need to look at now is the snip sound over here, which is basically playing the clap position again, but it's just a snip. And we are applying a little bit of send reverb over here as well. This reverb, 3.6 seconds long. It's applied at minus 15 dB over here. So in this part, in the original, we find guitars and a little bit of a pad, and a very slight pad in the background. Let's start with the guitar first, and we are just using one of the Ableton guitar packs. If we put in guitar and you're using Suite, you will find the guitar and bass pack. If you don't have it yet, you can download it with your Ableton 9 Live Suite pack from ableton.com. And if you use standard and want to do a guitar sound, you can either look for a good guitar sample and plug it in there as well, or if you want to purchase this template, I have a copied version of the amp guitar over here in a second, simpler track, so you can play that as well. Anyways, let's do it with the guitar dual amped sample pack basically, because there are a lot of samples inside of this guitar thing that starts with sampler over here. And we put a little bit of chorus on top, a little bit of sidechain, and we play those notes. And this one is deactivated over here. And that's being answered by the chord down here, which is a Serum chord. And I'm combining this chord with another chord, which is a little heavier, playing the same notes. Let's play the guitar again. You see, this is probably the most interesting sound over here, because we are applying a little bit of frequency shift pitching. And well, don't worry too much about what you see over here. It's basically an instance of Serum, and I'm controlling the cutoff from Serum with this macro control, and I'm also controlling some of the choruses and side chains over here. So I'm closing this for a second to show you this shift pitching thing over here. We can close everything else because those EQs basically just cut off lows and lows, and this one cuts a little bit off the highs to have it a little more centered. So let's have a look at this frequency shift pitcher. I have another video on this effect, which is kind of a tape start effect for chords that you can do outside of your synth, which is pretty cool. So if you paint this fine hertz knob in there, it will do this starting effect on your sample, on any sound you're playing. If I bypass it, sounds a lot cooler with it. In here is also Serum, and we are using B-sod square. We are using this simple saw wave over here. We are putting a little bit of bright white noise on top, and no effects especially in there. It's one of my favorite sounds, that's why I called it favorite in this pack over here. And German low pass filter again. And also we have another sine wave in the background, just playing those pads to fill up the background. So this is basically the middle part over here with the guitars.
Okay, Houston, I'm on the port.
So I'm just putting in a vocal sample over here, something random because I don't have the original vocals. Let's check out this other part over here. It's using the same kicks, it's using the same hi-hats over here, but it's using a couple of more drum sounds. We actually have a different snare in here, a little bit of low cut on top, and we have a snip on every second. So it's that snip we used before, and we have something I called swish. What's that? Ah yeah, that's opening up the drumming a little bit. Oh, very nice effect. So it's basically a clap, it's cut off there, and it's super wet in the reverb time. And we have another fast hi-hat over here. And also in this part we have the bass, we have a saw pad, we have another guitar sound, and we have a background pad. And in here we have those pad sounds from before, like those from here. So quickly look at the bass, which is not that different. It's the same patch as before. It's almost playing the same notes as well. A little shorter the first one. And now we have this saw pad over here, which is pretty cool. And let's have a look. So those are our notes over here. Let's put on this frequency shifter again, which is doing the same as the other before. We just pitched this in here. And you can see I have this part automated over here in the beginning. And I'm also automating a little bit of the EQ8 over here. I'm using a high cut filter, a high cut shape, this one. And I'm automating the frequency a little bit. So you can see it goes up a little and then it goes down over here and goes up again. So that's pretty cool as a sound. We also use a vocal shot over here, which is simply doing some ah. Cut off the low frequencies and put on some chorus and reverb with long decay times, a little bit of simple delay, 4 to 6, feedback up, dry up, and then you're good to go. We're also using the same guitar as before, but we are playing those other notes now. And it's important to use the velocities with those guitars if you play them, if you don't use a real guitar and play them with those pack guitars, because over here, if you put it up all the way, it reacts totally different than down here. So just play around with the velocities and you will see where they get you. Also, we have a background pad here, very low. It's so silent you probably don't even hear it now, but it's just there for the atmosphere. It's playing those notes. It's a sine pad again. And we have those saw pads from before over here. So I think this is the most important part of Saje Take You There. Oh, Take Care of You. In the beginning we have a really nice guitar chord. I'm quickly going to show you that as well. And there's a tambourine kind of thing playing as at the clap position. So this tambourine is playing and an open guitar sound playing those chords over here. And you see those that are more red than the others, those are the ones I want to focus on, like the ones where you would on the guitar apply your finger a lot harder than when you play the other notes. They're just part of the open chord, and those really are emphasized over here. This is basically a simple remake of Saje Take You There, done with Ableton, done with Serum. It was a lot of fun doing that remake. Well, if you want to use this template, I made a different version, a slightly different version with a couple of changed MIDIs, and it looks like this. We have copied guitars in simpler devices. If you don't have Ableton Suite, but standard, you can still use those guitar sounds because they're recorded down here. You just activate those tracks. Of course, in the beginning, you will get a message that this guitar pack over here is missing, but just don't worry about it. We used kicks and drum samples out of our G Premium pack. We used Serum and we used the sounds of our new future-based Serum pad, and we combined it all together and made a simple remake of Saje. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Subscribe to our channel. Visit us on Instagram. We are posting daily tips on Instagram as well. And I hope to see you next time.
Okay, Houston, I'm on the port.